For the last while, my vlogs, I've been wearing quite smart clothes. What do you think about that? Today's episode is about food, right? One of the great connectors of people. On this channel, I've been doing this series, exploring American values, and the continuation of that has been me really trying to get to grips and understand the similarities and differences between Scotland, our culture, and the United States of America, and sharing the great relationship that we've got, right? And one of the areas I think we are very different is food. Yeah, we've got good food here, but I think the great thing about the United States is you guys have got some tremendous food, and it's also very diverse, okay? From one state to the other, it's very, very different. You've each got your own specialities. So this morning I've been lucky enough to be invited to the US Consulate General's home here in Edinburgh for a very special event to connect our cultures, Scotland and the United States of America, okay? Like I said, food is the great connector between nations, and I think today is something really special. Louisiana, New Orleans, right? For example, there's a state that I've never been to. I can't even imagine what it's like. It is basically the other side of the world for me. I would love to go there, but I've just never had the opportunity yet, okay? And yet, today, in this episode of the vlog, I've got the opportunity, I've been given the opportunity to be transported there because at this event with the US Consul, a really top chef from New Orleans is here and is going to be giving us some of his best dishes from his restaurant that he prepares. I'm very excited about it. I don't even know what to expect, to be honest. I'm not necessarily a food vlogger, but I love food and I know the power it has to connect people. So today's episode is basically this Scottish guy reacting to Louisiana food. There's a bunch of other food bloggers who are going to be there as well, and we're all just going to enjoy the experience and get to learn about food from New Orleans. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it, so let's get going. But first of all, before we go, I just want to say thank you very much to all you guys for being here. It's great to have you. And if you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join the family, all right? Great to have you on board. Let's hit the road. Cheers. Chef Tory, thank you very much for coming out here to the US Consul in Edinburgh and cooking for us. Can you tell me a little bit about your restaurant and what you do?
So I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm the executive chef of a restaurant called Commander's Palace.
Commander's Palace.
And it's a very historic restaurant. It's one of the oldest restaurants in the United States. And we're just celebrating our 126th birthday. Wow. And we practice Creole cuisine, which is the local fare for New Orleans. And really it's a combination of France, Spain, African, German, Italian, and like in the last 25 years, a good amount of Vietnamese presence as well. So it's the only place in the United States where different cuisines meld together to make it a unique type of food.
And would you say there's any one dish or one type of dish that really defines what you do?
I think there's several. And when people from all around the world that come to New Orleans, you know, they think about amazing music and jazz and rock and roll, but the food it's world class. It's Creole, but great dishes like gumbo, which have African heritage, and jambalaya, which is French for hamon, right? Jambalaya, and alaya is the local Indian word for rice. Right, so kind of ham and rice. Yeah. It's a bit like our version of paella, right, with Spanish influence. Yeah. Something like that. So those are definitely classics. Shrimp Creole, crawfish etouffee, turtle soup is very, very big for us. Well. And other great desserts like pecan pie is great. We make our own Creole cream cheese and make a Creole cream cheese cheesecake from milk from local dairy farms. So we make that right inside the restaurant. Make our own cheese just for that. Yeah, but bread pudding is the one.
Bread pudding, wow.
Yeah, right. So you'd save your day-old bread, and there's no oil in the recipe or butter or fat in the bread recipe because it's so humid. Okay, and when you do that, the bread tends to be very heavy. Yeah. Okay, so it's really only like 4 ingredients. It's flour, water, salt, and yeast. Okay, so it's very, very light. So when the bread is light and it goes to rise, it creates big air pockets, big bubbles in there. So you'd soak it in custard for bread pudding and then bake it in the oven. So really it's like eating like creme brulee. Super, super rich.
And your food in general, there's quite a lot of heat in it, right? It's very spicy.
Yeah. So worldwide, the closer you get to the equator, the saltier and the spicier the food is. Yeah. For means of preservation. So if you look back in our history, before we had refrigeration, you had to salt it, you had to cure it, heavy smoke in our culture, and so that's just those big flavors, those big seasoning is just kind of stuck. And so people go to New Orleans, they're like, man, I want to eat gumbo. And it's like all this amazing stuff happening. It's great.
Sounds amazing, and I really want to come out there and try it for myself. But
well, come on, you got good friends now.
100% needs to happen. Can you tell me a bit about the culinary diplomacy project and what that means? And
yeah, so it's fascinating. I'm good friends with Lauren Bernstein, all right? And the Culinary Diplomacy Project is a nonprofit, and so we just try to travel the world and teach people about American cuisine and teach people about our culture. And I think these days through big business like Starbucks, McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, people have a outside the U.S. maybe unrealistic view of our cuisine. It's not like processed chicken nuggets, and it's not all hamburgers and hot dogs. That's fine if it's like for a backyard barbecue. But our stuff goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, and they're just revered recipes. And so we're here really trying to tell our story through cuisine. And every dish really kind of needs to tell its own story. So it's fascinating. They'll do that, and it's certainly an honor to be here in Scotland, meeting some amazing great friends.
That's awesome. And while you've been out here, have you had a chance to try the local foods?
Yeah, so we've been in Scotland just for a couple of days, but I've had haggis twice, I've had squab. What else? You gotta try some whiskey.
Oh yeah, I have to try whiskey, right? 100%.
Yeah, some gin. But it's just, everybody's been overwhelmingly nice.
Oh, that's good to
I
hear.
can pour myself into a pub or a cafe or a nice restaurant. Or doing these events, people walk up and they're just like, "Hey, how are you? It's good to see you." I don't have your accent to be able to do that, but it's been really, really wonderful. And for me, I even have Scottish roots with a name like Tory McPhail.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great to be able to come here and smell the smells and meet the people and taste the food. It's been great.
Yeah, I think for me as well, a lot of my audience is from the States as well, and I've been doing this kind of project with the US Embassy over the last 2 or 3 years, kind of connecting people in the States with Scottish ancestry.
That's right.
With Scotland, and
That's right.
and it's just been amazing to build this community and kind of learn where we have commonalities and where we might be different in some senses.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to learn that through food, I think, in particular, right?
That's right.
Because that's, I think, regardless of what's going on in the world, all the crazy things that are going on, that's where we can come together and just enjoy ourselves, right?
That's exactly right. So to be able to practice our craft and be able to provide great meals, and it's like one of the only things that for profession-wise, people practice 3 times a day because everybody needs to eat. And so to tell our story and travel the world doing our brand of good Creole cooking has been it's been amazing. So yeah.
So today you're going to cook a 3-course meal, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so brunch is a big thing for us. Yeah. And so we're going to do kind of like a traditional jazz brunch for you. And we're just going to kind of transport the entire group right here to the heart of Edinburgh.
Amazing.
And do our brand of New Orleans food. So we're going to start you off today with 4 different types of seafood, but we're going to do all our spice, our dishes, but with your local ingredients.
That's so
okay,
cool.
So some fresh lobster, some fresh salmon, a little bit of caviar, and some fresh crab. All right, little bellinis, pressed duck eggs around the outside, and some clotted cream. One
thing interesting about that, so you're going to be using local products here, but you're quite big into sustainability and your own cooking at home, right?
Yeah, when I hear people say it's a farm-to-table restaurant, for me it's kind of silly. I'm like, well, of course you are. Like, why wouldn't you be? We don't buy our fish in square little packages from the grocery store. That's just not it. So, because a lot of really good American food is so historic and it goes back generations and generations, we have really good relationships with all of our fishermen, our farmers, even like folks that go out and get wild game. Yeah. These are the same people that we've been doing business with for generations. So, I don't know, there's that whole notion that farm to table is a new thing and everybody's getting on the bandwagon. It's like, some folks I guess just don't understand real American food. Yeah. It's not all about Starbucks and McDonald's, right?
Absolutely. I mean, my own experiences have been very, very diverse in terms of food in America. Even in terms of barbecues, right? The simple barbecue from where you are to the north is totally different, right?
Yeah, that's it. There's Carolina barbecue, but then there's Texas barbecue. And in Carolina, it would be a lot of vinegar. Because it would just be like slathered down with fresh tomatoes and vinegar, because that's what they had. Yeah. In Texas, though, they didn't have as many ingredients like grow around the cattle country, so it was just dried spice. And that's Texas barbecue, North Carolina barbecue, and then there's like Alabama barbecue, and that's just like all open. Wow.
I mean, I've started quite a heated debate about barbecues with my US audience, and it's quite serious, right?
That's it. It can be fighting words. Yeah. Much like you'd say, hey man, my grandmother makes the best gumbo you've ever had in front of a crowd of local Louisiana folks. You might want to watch out for that.
Well, I'm really excited to try the food.
Thank you.
I'm just really glad that you've come here to Scotland and been able to experience it, and I'm
Thank you.
so excited to come and visit you guys as well. So.
Good. We have good friends in New Orleans.
Yeah, for sure.
So come back and see us. Everybody at home, come over to New Orleans, go to Commander's Palace, and swing through the kitchen and say hello.
100%.
All right?
Cheers.
Cheers, my man.
I don't know if anybody's told you this in Scotland, but Slangeva.
What's that?
Slangeva is the Scottish Gaelic, so Slangeva is cheers.
Slangeva.
Slangeva.
Okay, Slangeva.
Usually with a whiskey, but champagne will do.
Absolutely. So it's a bourbon milk punch. So brunch is a very joyous occasion. So everybody kind of leisurely wakes up after hopefully a very fun evening the night before. And so you kind of start off your day with a nice cocktail, and then you have some great food, and then you go on for the rest of your day. So it's a bourbon milk punch splashed with quite a bit of Jack Daniels, some rich heavy cream, a little bit of milk, and some fresh shaved nutmeg. Cheers.
First course today, we're going to do 4 varieties of fresh seafood for you. Okay, all this is locally harvested. Okay, so we have some very light Scottish salmon. On top of that is some caviar. The caviar is very rich, so I didn't add a lot to it. We also have fresh crab and a Scottish lobster. These are presented on 3 warm corn blinis, warm right out of the cast iron skillet. There's a fresh duck egg white around the outside, and on top we have a little bit of preserved lemon peel that I brought over from the States. So think of like salt, sugar, a little bit of fresh chilies, so there's a little bit of spice in there as well. Also some raw shallot to give a little bit of spice and a little bit of bite to it. But everything kind of coming together should be a nice light way to start out with an amazing glass of champagne to celebrate a very joyous occasion. So again, I'm proud and very honored to cook for you today. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. This is beautiful.
So the dessert we're going to have today was invented at Brennan's on Royal Street. Our matriarch of our hotel group, her and her family started that restaurant back in the like 1940s. Okay, and so back in the 1950s, they became very good friends with Mr. Foster, who was the on the police force, and the police department is right next door in New Orleans. And so Dick Foster was celebrating and entertaining some people from out of town, and he wanted to make a very big splash. He was a regular at the restaurant, and Ella Brennan, she said, "Hey, look, what can I do? This is going to be amazing, something very special to commemorate their special occasion." So she went in the back and got with the chef, and the only thing she had was a bunch of bananas that were laying around, some rum, because we do love our rum down in South Louisiana, and then also brown sugar. Ready? Yeah.
Jeez, oh.
There you go. She took all these fresh bananas, brown butter, brown sugar, and rum, brought it to the dining room, did a bit of a flambe for the table, and Banana Foster's was born, named after Dick Foster himself from the police department. And so we serve a tremendous amount, but that dish was invented out of Brennan's, all thanks to Ella Brennan, who started Commander's Palace with the rest of the family. Back in like the early 1970s, that restaurant got renovated, and then it kind of came to fruition this way. Right? That's a classic dish. So once we flambe with rum, we'll add our fresh bananas, classically with a little bit of vanilla ice cream. Just very, very simple, but amazing flavors.
Oh my word, that was so good. I am bursting at the seams, literally. Gonna have to pop my shirt open in a minute. Louisiana food. That was absolutely sensational. I don't think I've had a meal like that in such a long time. And it's just made me so excited, guys. So excited to come out to the States and try places that I've never been to before. New Orleans, Louisiana, who knew? Well, obviously you guys who are from there, you knew about the food, but I did not. So that is now on the list firmly. All right. But that was today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Something a bit different. Really kind of getting into this theme of connecting the cultures of Scotland and the United States of America. Something which I've been doing on my channel for quite a while now. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. It's been great to have you here as always. And until the next adventure, I hope you have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon, or whatever time of day it is, wherever you are in the world. Take care.